Hey, look at that. We're live.
Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you just went live because what you just said would have totally gotten you canceled. That was crazy,
Probably.
man. I can't believe you would say something like that. That's insane.
One of the few things that I drop in the middle of a live stream that'll get me canceled. I'm going to point out we've got some new people in chat right now. Does any one of you guys want to claim your children here? We've got Elm Media Solutions, Emerald Audio Visual. It's nice to see new people in the chat, though. Not going to lie. And they're saying that they're fans of mine too. Nobody's claiming their children.
I hadn't thought of viewers as children, but I'm still reeling at that.
Okay, all right, fair.
For me, who does not have any children, this is a big shock, and I need to question a lot of life choices and prepare for this because, like that. Oh gosh, Joe, whatever from the Lion King. That's not it. The Tiger King. I'm never going to financially recover from this.
The Lion King. That line was not from the Lion. Remember when Mufasa said, yeah.
I'm never going to financially recover from That would be so good coming from James Earl Jones.
It would have been. That would have been great. Elm Media Solutions, Emerald Audio Visual, we got Action Podcast. We got the usual guys in here. Now, if you're part of my live streams, usually, guys, we're not going to be hitting the chat as much. We're going to be kind of focusing on a lot of things that. Oh, and Dylan's here, by the way. We're going to be focusing on a lot of we got some questions planned that we're going to be chatting about stuff, but we're also going to reach into the chat pool from time to time. Dylan, anybody that's not aware of our live streams, this is Dylan Alone, my 2IC, my yin to my yang. I don't know. Did that make it dirty, Dylan?
With you, yeah, definitely.
Okay, all right. It's not the worst thing that's been said on this live stream so far.
No, definitely.
So, everybody, if you don't know, we've got Microphone Millhouse up on my top right beside me. We've got Curtis Judd right below Microphone Millhouse. And this is basically kind of the powerhouse live stream. Bark was supposed to come, but Bark ended up backing out at the last minute from Obscure Mics, which made us all quite sad.
Yeah. We miss you, Bark.
We miss you.
He might show up in chat. I think his wife might not get angry at him if he does, though. He had something he was doing. Some family get together or something. Everyone has a birthday this weekend and they can't play. I don't know what's wrong with them. It's actually quite rude if you ask me. So 2024, gents, I'm going to put this out to everybody right now. Was this the absolute slowest year for releases? Anybody can chime in at any time. You don't need to hit the buzzer.
I'm going to say an absolute and resounding no.
Really? And you're not going to follow up on
he
that?
froze.
To go out and look at stuff, and this was within... I'm frozen?
You froze and then you came back. Yeah. You had the greatest look on your face when you did it. So start with absolutely not and go from there.
Absolutely not. I went out. I looked at what came out this year. There is so much stuff. Let me go through it. Heritage Audio, i73 Pro, SSL2, Gen 2, Sennheiser 421, Compact, Shure, Nexadyne, SC, S, whatever it is, SM4, MV6, Move Mic, MV7 Plus. That's just from Shure. Come on now. Lewitt Ray, Lewitt Connect 2.
USB.
Okay, discount the USB all you want. Lewitt Ray, Lewitt Connect 2, Rode Interview Pro, Wireless Micro, Wireless Go 3, UA Apollo Gen 3, Gen 2, Rodecaster Video. You covered that, Rodecaster Video.
Well, okay. There was some big ones. I'll give you that.
The Zoom Essentials, the Focusrite 18i20 Gen 4.
Okay, well, the Gen 4 Scarlett doesn't count.
So much stuff. Jeez,
Wait a minute,
discounting.
I know there's some rules here that I'm not sure I'm aware of. So there's some things that we have to discount. Let's go ahead and do all the disclosures up front, shall we?
Yeah, what are we discounting? What else?
Is Focusrite in the audience? I need to know that first. Have they showed up? Because if they are, maybe I should. Yeah. No, you're right. There's. I think that the what struck me as odd over the past, I would say 7 years since the original Rodecaster Pro came out, it has been an utter onslaught of podcast gear. Just one after another. Like the original Rodecaster Pro came out, everybody kind of like wet themselves and then went, oh my God, we've got to counter this. 2 years later, you got a couple like Zoom podcast, PodTrack P8 and the Tascam Mixcast 4. And then the Rodecaster Pro 2 came out, and then everything just kind of blew up. Everyone came out with broadcast podcast mics, all this stuff. And then this year hit. And really the only thing I would say that has come out this year that was really on the same kind of level was the Rodecaster Video. So when I'm talking about that, I'm not talking industry wide. And of course, you guys should have been able to read into that by my notes, I would imagine.
Thanks for reading the notes.
Yeah,
thanks.
I really missed that disclosure as well as everything else I was supposed to discount.
Focus.
No, I think that as far as podcasting gear goes, yeah, it was slower than prior years. I'm just wondering, did we really need more podcasting gear?
Oh, certainly not.
I don't think the market can really sustain that level of release for podcasting gear because there are 4 million podcasts now. I highly doubt 4 million people are buying the Rodecaster Pro, the Rodecaster Pro 2, the Tascam Mixcast 4, etc., etc. So I think there's not the market for that level of release schedule.
I mean, is there a market for a yearly iPhone?
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, Curtis, let's hear from you, man.
That was a fair question, the iPhone question. I completely agree, if I understand what was behind it. I would say it was actually, I think maybe yes, and I think it was refreshing, actually. It gave me an opportunity to breathe and not have to review a piece of gear every single week. I was happy about that. I got to do other things. For example, I got to make my first ASMR video ever.
Ooh. Was it like the sexy kind? Did you eat food
it was.
for it?
We're coming back to that. That's actually another one of my things I want to talk about here.
We'll circle around to that.
Yeah, we'll circle around. But I would say, if particularly in the podcast area, I think it was a little bit on the slower side. And I think that's okay. I think it's okay.
Dylan, are you willing to chime? Sorry, Curtis.
No, I'm just going to say, like, we get so many people in tech, the people that are enthusiastic about tech and gear just get so, sometimes we lose focus and it's like, oh my gosh, when's the update going to come? Oh, I don't want to buy this yet because there might be a Mark II coming out really soon. And it's just like, bros, just buy what you need and get to work. Get to work making your content. Dylan, over to you, my friend.
Yeah, no, I think obviously Andrew brings up some good points. There have been releases. Were there as many groundbreaking releases, game-changing releases as I was hoping for? No, I think Aiden and I were both kind of hoping that there was going to be a follow-up to the Essential lineup, the Zoom Essential series, because I was a little bit let down by that. As I know a few other people were. But there were some notable, for me, the Interview Pro. I come back to that because that, from a voiceover standpoint, even from a music standpoint, that was a neat product and a really attractive price point. We looked at it in the media space and it's just like, okay, well, something that could accomplish that quality in that form factor before that's a 4-figure minimum purchase. So having that at like $350, that was awesome. Rodecaster Video, absolutely. I know that one's been coming for a while, and I think finally getting a chance to play with that, I'm like, okay, I see why this is such a big deal. But yeah, there weren't enough. There wasn't as much of that as I thought that there would be this year.
Leave it to the professional producer to have scratchy audio when he starts out.
It's the pot.
I got some pot cleaner coming from your buddy. Don't worry about it.
Somewhere. I don't know where, but it's somewhere. I got to find it.
Yeah, I'll kind of echo Curtis's comments about the refreshing part. I pulled back from weekly microphone reviews, and I found I was getting to a point where, hey, I could just order a microphone off of Amazon, and here you go. Here's your content, kiddos. Go ahead, take it. There you go. Eat it. Eat all of it. and I felt like I was like, that's no way to run a channel. That's not necessarily like what I want to do with my channel. So I started putting out more content that was kind of relatable stuff that, you know, we can talk about different things like content creation and stuff like that. And, you know, you get the big releases, like you got the reviews of the Rodecaster video, but there's also more complex stuff you can do with audio. And we'll get into some of our favorite videos in a bit. But yeah, I think it was kind of refreshing to see a bit of a pause. I'm going to follow all that up with, I think we've got an onslaught of podcast gear coming. So batten down the hatches, guys. I think it's going to be a rough 2025, 2026 for reviewers.
I like the fact that the release schedule I hope it does slow down a bit, because it goes back to one of my favorite things about audio gear is just the shelf life of it. With iPhones, it's every single year, new one, go buy the upgrade. With computers, every single year, new one. You need a faster processor, go get it. Cameras, you need a new one every single year. Audio gear is buy an SM58, use it for 20 years, who cares? That's what I love about audio. It's just, you can buy something well and use it for decades. And I hope we don't shift into that kind of refresh cycle where people are looking to upgrade every single year, even though that would be better for us as YouTubers who people watch.
Become millionaires off the next Rodecaster 5. Yeah, you know what? Yes, you're right. I wonder how much, what is the next thing that's going to create a purchasable upgrade? Like, and I feel like the first Rodecaster Pro comes out, the gain sucked. It was noisy preamps. They fixed all that for Rodecaster Pro 2. How much can we fix before we're like, okay, here's another one. Please buy this one, please.
I can tell you one thing they could fix is if you're doing a multi-person podcast in the same room, they could have a good auto mix of some sort. Would help a lot.
That's interesting.
Would there be a licensing thing there, or because I know there's Dugan, and that's a popular algorithm.
I would doubt that they would use Dugan, but there are lots of other ways of doing it. And, you know, Allen and Heath mixers have them. Even the little field recorders have their own flavor of them. Even the Zoom F series, I think it is, have them. So they could add it. They could do it. They just use a different algorithm than Dugan uses. And
that's actually a good idea.
Yeah. I mean, that would save people so freaking much time in post-production. So much time.
If they really wanted to earn some goodwill with their users, just release an upgrade or maybe just a paid download for the current version.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Rode's usually good for that. When they update software, they usually they're relatively good for, like they rolled out with the virtual channels, which was an awesome update. And they just they're constantly working on that stuff. But I am curious about, like, because that's one of the things that I could see being a decent upgrade would be like jailbreak and breaking the VST support. So being able to bring VSTs in with the DSP would be awesome. Like Rode could launch their whole lineup of their own plugins if they wanted to. Yeah, you know, their own compressor. Sure, why not? I think it would be kind of cool, and I think that's one of the few things. If there is an update, that's probably going to be one of them. If it is, that's really cool, but we shall see. We did have one. Somebody mentioned there was a V3 for Wireless Go came out, which I still haven't received because Canada Post is on strike. Thank you.
I didn't even know about it until I saw the product announcement.
Yeah, or the Wireless V3.
Yeah,
the Wireless Go V3.
I ticked somebody off over at Rode because I don't get any information anymore.
Oh, they don't even drop anything on you?
No.
Oh, do you wait several years to do the review? Is that part of the problem?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I'm now part of that club. I've got an SE microphone that has been on my shelf for almost 2 years. He still hasn't reached out to me since. I just SE could release like the world and he'd just skip right over me, and that's fair. I get that. The V3, do you think V3 is going to indicate we got more stuff skipping to V3? That's just, as soon as I saw V3, I'm like, oh my God, they broke the barrier. It's almost like the barrier was broken. They're like everything V3. No.
What does it bring exactly? Can you remind me? It brings auto gain and
32-bit float.
32-bit float.
Yeah. Oh, also one of the biggest problems I had with the Rode Wireless Go 2 was there was no plug-in feature for all of them at the same time. I believe they released one of the wire or the charging cases after the fact. I never ended up getting one, but they have released a new multi-plug for all of them at the same time, so you can charge them all and you can download stuff off of them at the same time, which is a really nice update for creature comfort.
Yeah,
So
that makes sense. Somebody in the Emerald Audiovisual said it's basically the V3 is a Rode Wireless Pro without the time code. So, and less, a lower price, basically, which makes... Oh, and different colors. Sorry, don't forget.
the colors are delightful.
Dang it. I wasted money buying the Wireless Pro. Heck.
It's still in the package. This is why they don't call you Benji.
I bought it with my own money. They should be sending me thank you for buying so much stuff and you don't even cover it. Thanks
And
for
it just
giving us
sits on-
money.
Just sits on your shelf. Just
I have thoughts about wireless.
I do
okay.
too. We're in an apocalypse of wireless right now. Everybody is releasing something wireless, 2.4 gigahertz. It's like everybody decided right now, let's do it. And I can't quite get over the fact that like I've got so many wireless kits sitting in front of me and I only use them. I use Rode Wireless Pro. I lend it to my wife for interviews and stuff like that for a PhD. So it gets used, but I don't need 6 sets of, like I've got Saramonic here. I've got, and I've reached out to DJI to say like, hey, then do I really want it? Maybe I can send it all back. That's, so thoughts on wireless then, since you broached the subject, Andrew?
I don't think so. This is purely from just like a home studio YouTuber perspective, podcaster perspective. I don't think the vast majority of us need it. Like, I think if you're recording in a studio, you don't need a wireless rig. It just introduces complications. And if it's possible, just stay wired. I buy all this wireless stuff and I'm thinking, oh, this is going to be so awesome to test out and use and then review. And then I use it once and say, this is more of a headache than I need. I'm just going to run an SM7B, or I'm just going to run a wired lav into the Zoom F2 and record to that. Problem solved. And I don't have to worry about RF or anything.
But what about this aesthetic? You'd be missing all this. Look at this. Gaze on the beauty of this aesthetic.
Let me clip a massive transmitter right onto my collar so it droops down like this and I look silly. Then I can be a real YouTuber.
It's true. On the street YouTuber. Curtis, what are your thoughts here? Let's alienate all the companies.
Well, I'm doing everything I can right now to alienate. I made a little bit of an activist video telling the companies that make wireless microphone systems with non-user replaceable batteries that that's not okay. They got to stop it. I said, there are 3 options here. You can design your products so they have replaceable batteries. Number 2, you can sell kits that will allow us to crack the thing open and replace the battery once it's not able to hold a charge anymore. Or you need to be really transparent about what your battery replacement policy is. Like, where do I need to ship it? How much is it going to cost? So on and so forth.
Or will the company do it for free?
Maybe they'll do it for free if it's still within warranty. But if it's outside of warranty, I understand they can't warrant something forever. But I published that video, and Peter Friedman, who's a name you might recognize as the founder of Rode Microphones, commented on the video and basically said, well, his initial comment was, Curtis, I know you like to be accurate in your videos, and I just want to let you know that we have never had a battery fail in our wireless things. And I was like, maybe, but I've heard a lot of comments on my videos, people complaining about them and how they're not able to hold a charge anymore. So maybe they haven't contacted you. Anyway, I was very diplomatic. I said, Peter, thank you so much for your comment. Appreciate it so much. I'd love to see Røde lead the way by creating products with user replaceable batteries, selling battery kits, and being very clear about your And he wrote back and he said, I commit to designing our products so that the batteries can be replaced in the future, and we'll be very clear about our replacement policy. And I just went,
yeah, that's awesome.
Nice.
That is wicked.
So we'll see. We'll see. He said, but we'll see. Now he has to go do it. Now he has to go back to his team at Røde and say, hey guys, I just promised something.
Yeah, make it happen.
Well, but there's also there's a conversation around, I mean, what was it, about 10 years ago, phones stopped doing that, right? Phones stopped having user replaceable batteries. And in order to have a battery replaced on an iPhone is a ridiculous cost that's just not worth it. How long does the battery have to last in it for it to be okay to not be user replaceable? Because again, phones that you purchase for $1,200 plus don't have a user replaceable battery. And then it's that's where I pull up short of really I try to rein in that critique, because we live in a society where everything now has non-user replaceable parts. And what companies are we choosing to hammer on, and what companies are we willing to let off the hook? And yes, user replaceable batteries, a little lithium ion battery that you can put in yourself would be awesome. Mm-hmm. I just think that I would be curious to see. I have yet to have one fail, the battery on it, but I'd be curious to see. I've had these for a year and a half. Do these last longer than an iPhone? Because that for me is I know it's a big complaint for a lot of people, but if it lasts 3-4 years.
Yeah, I mean, it's going to depend. Some people, mine, I haven't had any die yet. I have had another product die that was a video light that had an inbuilt battery, and I've had that one failed.
I think it depends on usage too, because these products are often rated by charge cycles. So it's also if it sits for a long time. Like if you charge it and then just let it sit for months on end. If you leave it at 100% charge for a year and then not use it well, it's going to degrade.
So some people are reporting, and who knows what all is involved, but some people are saying, yeah, mine failed after 12 months, so 1 year. I've had other people say 18 months. It just, it depends. It's a battery. Yeah. It will not last forever, and it depends on a lot of factors. So
and then the other factor I have brought up in comments before with people that are like, this doesn't work. I'm like, have you contacted the company?
Yeah, exactly. If the
company's willing to replace it,
and that's the thing is Røde has generally been pretty good on their warranty service. Like I've only had a couple. My Rodecaster, actually, the metal top on the Rodecaster Pro 2 kind of came unglued at the edges. And I heard
that was the thing at first.
It was the first run of them had some issues with the adhesive. So they didn't ask any questions. They're like, yeah, ship it to our California center. We got you. And they did. They did a great job.
Nice.
They really have one of the best customer service and return policies and all of that.
Yeah.
I try every time, any company, I try to go through it as a consumer first. And if it doesn't work, then I'll go through the hey, I'm a creator lines, because I might need this for doing comparisons. And I've never, ever had an issue. I've had issues with a couple of companies, but the two that stand out, Shure and Røde, are just mind-bogglingly good. Never had an issue with either one of them. So
I had a great experience with Sennheiser. If we're giving company props, I had to send my 441 into them, and I went onto their website. They had a form. I input information. Within 15 minutes, I had a paid shipping label to send it back to them. Wow. It was incredible. Wow. And then they sent it back fixed within 2 weeks.
Oh, that is awesome. Yeah. That's the kind of stuff you want. All right, cool. So let's get back to the list of questions. We got off the list, which is inappropriate, guys. I'm just saying.
Off the rails. This is we're talking about train wrecks. That's the theme for this live stream. Off the rails.
Favorite piece of gear to cross your desk this year? We'll start with Dylan. Dylan's been awfully quiet here. Any gear for anything. So I know Curtis is a little bit outside just audio, so it can be anything. Did you really like a light? Let us know.
For me, I don't know, stuff that came out this year or stuff that I bought this year, because those are different categories.
I think came out this year. I think
Okay.
we'll have to limit it to that.
The
Oh,
interview
Andrew.
pro.
Okay, we'll make it whatever. Okay.
See, the problem is, and I know there's some music dabblers amongst our little panel here. The music industry hasn't really changed a lot since the 70s in terms of like how a studio is wired up. So, the question for like, if I'm looking for IO for my room, the question is never what year did it come out? It's okay. What is it, a good design? Because if it's a good design, I don't really care what year it came out. If they're good converters, they're good converters. But as far as stuff that came out this year, the Interview Pro, for me personally, that was something that I kind of went in with relatively low expectations because the whole, mic that records on board thing has been done before, not very well in some cases. I was really impressed with it for like the power under the hood with that thing and the ease of use. We had used when I was working at the station, at a radio station, we had used the H5s. That was our go-to for mobile recording, and reps couldn't figure it out. They would change the format all the time on it. They're going, it sounds crappy. Why? Or it sounds like they're a million miles away. Well, because you're using the onboard mics and not hit the 1-2, not the L. Like those kinds of problems. You fire up the Interview Pro, turn it on. Okay, it's flashing. Record. It's red. Boom. You're recording. The only thing that
can use it
had, and the wireless have the same, is you can't kind of individually purge files. You have to purge all of the storage at once. That irritates me a little bit. I see why they do it that way. I think there's some valid points on both sides, but I would prefer the ability, especially, I don't know, there's stuff where I'm like, I'm just testing it. I know it will roll over and it'll wipe over the stuff that's already been recorded, but I'd like the ability to just go in there and grab the files I need and delete them.
Okay, Dylan, you also have to cover your favorite piece of gear that was not released this year, since I'm opening the floodgates for bands.
No. I'll keep that to one. So my SPL Madison, which is the new IO, there's a reason why I brought IO up as an example. 16 in, 16 out, $2,400 package for good IO. That's a really good price point, and so far I'm very impressed with them. It's reliable, only because the Matty card I have is reliable. But yeah, it's an old design. I think it's like mid-20 teens, like 2015, 2016, I believe. But it's a good design. Low noise, crystal clear pre's. I might have it modded at some point by Black Lion because they do a pretty good mod of this particular machine. But yeah, as far as stuff that I got this year, that is not, and that was to replace an SSL converter that I have that's going on me, and me and SSL, not through any fault of their own, cannot figure out what's going wrong with it. I'm looking at it right now, and it's a light show. I don't know what the levels are coming off of that. There's nothing plugged into it. Mystery.
I just before Bandrew, we got a couple super chats. By the way, guys, we're gonna have to split this and all get coffee money. That's okay. Ernesto says thank you for all the infotainment you guys bring. I appreciate that, Ernesto. And we got the Half Man of Oz. Gentlemen, I've spent many hours enjoying listening to you all talk about all things audio. Looking forward to many more years of nerding out over sound with you all. I appreciate that as well. So
thank you very much, Half Man of Oz.
Yeah.
Cheers, guys.
Sweet.
All right. Bandrew, you're chomping at the bit here. You can do both if you like.
All right, I will do both. I went through a list of everything I reviewed this year. I think I only reviewed like 6 new pieces of gear that came out this year. Everything else is years and years old. So as far as new gear, oh gosh, I would probably say, as I scroll through just looking for something.
Whatever crap I did.
Sure? H1E, I liked that.
No way.
I liked that. Because I was using the H1 before. I know y'all hate that. I thought it was a nice upgrade from the first generation H1.
Okay, I will give you that. It is a good upgrade from the first generation A1. Looking at it through that lens, it's a good upgrade.
So, was that even released? That was released this year, right?
Yeah, that was early this year. Yeah. All right, what else you got, man?
Then the other stuff because that was just grasping at straws, just quickly grabbing anything. Probably favorite is SE Electronics X1A, just because that thing sounds so incredibly good and it's $100. So I just think at that price point, it's going up against the AT 2020. and it gives somebody a much different sound. Like at the $100 price point, you get this typically you get a very bright, very cheap, very shrill sound. This keeps it very smooth. It's a lot less exaggerated in the higher frequencies. So for $100, it does have its flaws, but pretty darn great.
How does it compare to the SCX1S?
I haven't tried the X1S.
Oh, because I have the 1S. Hey, do you want to trade?
Sure. I also need to try the X1R. I need to buy both of those and try those out.
All right. Curtis, you're picking something up. I have a feeling you're about to drop a bomb on us here.
No bombs.
No bombs? Okay.
No bombs. But my what I need is glasses, as would probably be the best piece of gear I could buy this year. I need to remind myself of the model number here. It's the Sennheiser MKH. I think it's the 8030, which is a figure 8 polar pattern mic.
Nice.
And how I think that this would be the prime podcast mic for two people. One person sits on one side, another person on the other. No, what I was really interested in doing was mid-side recording. So this was the side mic in a mid-side setup, and it's a pretty exciting mic.
You said MKH 8030?
I think it's 8030. It's either 8030 or 8040. I'm pretty sure it's 8030. Andrew's on it.
Looking at it.
Oh, you're both
I am
working.
too, yeah.
Oh,
Those are expensive mics.
They are expensive mics. So yeah, it's not a budget option, but it's it's one that's gonna stay in my kit for forever.
I mean, people are telling me I need to start showing comments. I apologize, guys.
Can I have a go back?
Okay, we get one redo. One redo.
Okay. I'm gonna
favorite from all time. Come on.
I'm gonna throw in Lewitt Ray as the gear that came out this year because that's rad. That's a really cool piece of tech, and I like that upgrade. Okay.
Yeah.
Did I save myself from Zoom H1E?
Yes, very much so. Thank
Once
you.
you get, like, I got another one too. Adam A7V, my old trusty first generation KRK rockets. Well, one of them's dead. I will get it repaired eventually because I love those monitors. But I need a replacement, and when you do it every day, you don't have time to sit and crunch numbers for a week. So pull the trigger on the A7V. I've always liked the sound of the Adam tweeters. Lots of people say they're harsh. I think they're really transient precise, which sometimes makes them sound harsh. Like I've gotten transients out of a snare drum out of these speakers that I've never gotten from anything else before. Love the ability to control them over Ethernet. I've always found the stupidest place to have switches for a monitor to tweak the sound is behind them. Because when I'm making mixing decisions, obviously I want to do it from my mixing position. So, yeah, no, very pricier monitors. I mean, they're not barefoots or anything, but yeah, love the sound, love the customizability. So yeah, and that was a this year purchase. Wasn't a this year release, I don't think, but another purchase that I'm happy with.
So I'm trying to show a few comments. We'll try to answer a few questions along the way here, guys. Sorry, I've been neglecting the comments. For me, I just wanted to mention the H1 series. And sorry, Bandrew, they literally released a series 10 years after with worse internals. I just can't. Not the top of my list. How dare you? But
does Zoom's, are you still on speaking terms with Zoom is my question.
They have not. I've reached out to them a couple times and they've I heard crickets in my email. It was brutal. Yeah. And you know what the problem is? Because I asked them I'm like, oh my God, you guys have a new H1, H4, and H6. Can I have those for review? And they're like, yeah. And I get them. I'm like, oh, now I feel bad. And I even tried sending them back. I actually donated the H6E to a gentleman who had vision impairment. He contacted me. Turns out he was in the same city. He wanted to know because apparently the one amazing thing that Zoom did with the menu system and having the actual verbal commands out of it, he wanted to know, is it any good? Is it something you can use? I'm like, dude, do you want it? He's like, oh my God, yes. So I was able to get some out of that, and I've donated almost all of them. I think I've got the H4 left still, just for, giggles and whenever I need to do. Anyways, I'm getting off track.
Bandrew might appreciate that if you want to send that his way. He seems to really like the H1.
You want
Essential.
the H4E, Bandrew?
No thanks. I'm
He's like, no.
nah. I have stacks of interfaces I need to review, and just the amount of work that goes into testing like a portable recorder that also functions as an interface. It's so time consuming.
Yeah, that would be.
Professional YouTuber speaks. I love that. That's perfect because I feel the exact same way. Oh my God. Patrick, I don't know what currency that is, but that's 800 of them. ARS, what's the conversion to US dollars? Somebody hit me up. We got to know how much love we need to give Patrick here. For a beginner in audio like me, you guys made it very easy to get into the space and avoid buying mistakes. Thank you. Thank you, Patrick. That actually means a lot.
You need to give him all the love because he gave you anything.
Yeah, absolutely. I just meant, like, do I need to give him my firstborn? Like, I'm willing. He does.
Well, I guess the question is, do you want to? Are you looking for a reason to?
I love my firstborn very much, whatever his name is. So for me, favorite thing that came across, I'm actually Lewitt Ray is actually was one of the coolest things that came across this desk. I love that you see companies kind of stepping out of the box and trying to find new ways to make this space approachable for people that don't have experience, kind of like what Patrick was saying with his super chat. I love that we're doing that. I love that we're taking a lot of this industry away from kind of the hardcore snobs.
The inside baseball side of the industry.
Yeah, like I really like that we have people coming into this space and can ask questions without fear of reprisal, without and we had such a toxic environment on some certain websites that I can't rename because good God. The Gear Spaces, I think it's called now. There was so much of it. There was so much toxic stuff, and I love to see how we're making this approachable for so many people, and it's really awesome to see.
No, I remember when I was starting out, that's all there was, were forums like that. And yeah, I got burned apart a few times on those forums. Going like you have to know what you're talking about. If not, you will get roasted consensually or otherwise.
I bought a Scarlett 2i4 Gen 1 back in the day when they first came out, and I was starting a voiceover business, and I actually got work with it. And I still remember I went on there and people just start yelling at you. You can't use that for voiceover. That's just garbage audio. And I'm like, good. Okay.
But this is also a crowd of people that had like, oh, the U89. Oh, you chump. What are you doing with a U89? Nobody uses that. It's garbage. So, opinions are like assholes. Everybody's got one.
The other thing I would say that came across my desk that kind of blew me away was the Rodecaster video. That was... like, I went to see it in February when they were planning the release, and I wasn't able to play with it back then. They let me hold one that wasn't plugged in, which was really cool. Like, I hugged the thing as like a brother. It's one of those things that I guessed in January. I put out a video saying what I thought was coming, and I thought more video was coming. And when they announced that, I'm like, awesome. And this has been... yeah, it's one of the coolest pieces of gear I've had the opportunity to actually put in front of me to review. So that was really cool. And I do have to one shout out. Every live stream goes to Jerker, who likes to just point out that he gets me to say his name on every stream. I don't know what it translates to in his original language, but I'm guessing probably the same thing it means in English. And moving on from that one.
What does it mean in English?
Maybe let's move on to the next topic.
Yeah, Andrew. Andrew, I tell you what, why don't you Google that while we chat and look through the pictures, okay? Just make sure you look through the pictures. Don't screen share, please. We like the
we like the monetization
on this video. Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
Next slide.
Next, yeah, we'll go to a piece of gear that genuinely surprised you. Banjo, I want to start with you because I think you're going to say a Zoom product, and I'm kind of curious.
No. The gear, so this is not a piece of gear that came out this year. It's the Fifine AM8. It's a mic that I just reviewed. The sound of that thing, I got it on sale for $45, is bonkers. The mount on it makes me loathe it with all of my being because it makes the XLR port useless. Because if you have the XLR plugged in and it dangles at all, it just flops about. But the sound of it is really good for $45, and it's XLR and USB.
That's really awesome, actually. Yeah, I had the AM8 as well. I kind of broke Fifine's heart because I was constantly like, it's okay. Like their first microphone had a fault with it, so the USB didn't work, and then I stopped reviewing all those super cheap microphones because of the comments on the videos.
Mm-hmm.
So the AM8 was fantastic. Curtis, what do you got? Surprised the hell out of you.
Well, I don't know about surprise the hell out of me, but Mackie DLZ XS, the small one, it was better than I expected. They're both owned by the same parent company now, Røde and Mackie. And I have both of them that I can choose every week. When I do my live stream, I always choose the Mackie. I just find it so much easier to dial in the effects, to get the compression right, to get the de-esser right, to get the EQ and the high pass right. I like that there's actually a master fader too. I can fade my show out at the end.
The master fader drives me nuts because it's not on a knob.
Yeah,
I want to be able to choose a knob.
On the small one, it's not on the. Actually, I use the big one most weeks. To be honest, that does have the master fader, and I love that. It's a nice little. But anyway, I really like the Mackie mixers. The podcast mixers are, I think, they're really well thought through from a company that's made mixers for years and years and years, and they've just done a nice job with them.
Question
Dylan.
for you, Curtis. Sorry. Have you noticed any change in like update releases for the Mackie since they were acquired?
No, they're still pretty slow.
Okay.
I haven't had a lot of. I think there are a lot of other people that want more sophisticated routing and stuff like that they haven't supplied yet. Where I think Røde is super impressive when it comes to feature additions on the Rodecaster. I'm just blown away by that, actually.
Yeah. See, I'm going out on a limb, and one of the things that I've been talking to Dylan about this, and I think I mentioned on a live stream, I have no inside information, but I think we're going to see the ultimate machine between Mackie and Røde. I think they're going to be combining like everything that's great about the DLZ Creator and everything that's great about the Rodecaster Pro 2. I think we're going to see that.
Do you think that'll take the form of sharing the same technology platform? And
I believe so. Like, well, they're owned by the same parent company, right?
Right.
And I don't have any inside information except for the fact that the DLZ Creator and the XS went on heavily discounted for Black Friday. Like discounted to the point where you're like, oh my God, are these things going away? And there would be only one reason why they would go away. It doesn't make sense for a company like Røde or for, that group to have two of the exact same mixers competing with each other in the market. And with the only difference between them would be that specialized routing and the DLZ Creator having the, whatchamacallit on Ethernet.
NDI.
Yeah, NDI on Ethernet. And imagine if all of that just went and like, sorry for the sound effect.
Oh, but yeah.
ASMR, love it.
A follow-up question for you as well. Do you think that Mackie and Røde kind of, I guess, occupy different areas of the market? Do you think that Røde is more like online content creators are more aware of Røde, while older professionals are more aware of Mackie and more likely to go with them? Do you think there's any benefit to them keeping both brands and having mixers that are similar to try to appeal to the those who are aware of those brands?
See, when I went to Seattle in February, it was fantastic because I got a tour of the Mackie, kind of all of their headquarters and how they devise and everything behind the scenes. And it was so cool to see. But then you also see like the differences between a company like Mackie and then this like super almost Apple-like ecosystem of Røde. And you can see how different they are. And yes, you're right. But I think Mackie kind of returning to their loudspeaker days, to the live sound mixers, to that kind of stuff, because I think that's what Røde saw when they saw Mackie and they're like bringing them into the fold. It was to fill out Røde's live sound kind of offerings, right? Which Røde had none. And now they have all. So I think that with that in mind, when they're converging the two companies and they're like, okay, what is Mackie here for? Live sound. And that's what Mackie, of course, excels at. The TLC Creator was one of the best releases. Was that last year? And then the XS was this year. The XS is still my daily driver on my main rig. Like I use it for everything. It's one of my favorite mixers. I love the Duo. The Duo was on there before the XS, but the bigger screen, like what Curtis was saying, just makes it the perfect main driver for my rig. I don't record anything major through it. Like I'm not doing any country songs or anything like that through it, but I am every piece of audio that comes through my main desk. I edit my podcast through it.
Anything that's not country music goes through it. Is that what you're saying?
Basically Norwegian black metal mostly. That's the
all right.
Mixed with country. It's actually a new genre. Don't give it up.
Burzum Brooks.
Burns and Brooks. Brooks and Burning Churches, I think it was.
There you go.
Yeah, the XS is top of my list. That's kind of the one that kind of surprised me. I didn't know it was coming. However, I don't know if I ever told this story. Back in the day, Mackie got a hold of me to be on their committee because they had this new mixer they were going to be coming out with. This was 3 years ago. And they're like, we're coming out with this mixer. We want to know what you think. And the mock-ups they had were okay, but they didn't tell you the size of the mock-ups. And I thought this was going to be something about the size of the XS, right? I was like, okay, so it's, it's cute, it's cool. And I completely forgot about it. And I think once the Rodecaster Pro 2 came out, they kind of rejigged a few things and released it, which then I asked for the Chungus because I'm like, I need to review that. This was another one that just completely blindsided me. I thought it was like a perfect review. This is also the best video I had this year. I got 30,000 views in under 8 hours on that video when I basically did the announcement where I reacted to the announcement of all these new Mackie products. That video blew up for me. So maybe I have a little bit of a kinship with them. But I'm also a big Mackie fan from the beginning. So, all right, I got to highlight a couple. All right. Liberty Dude, $2,000 Røde Mackie 4K video, full audio mixer combo, extreme dream machine.
Actually, that brings up an interesting point. I would love to see their live stream, like a more tighter integration there. I don't know.
Like a DLZ creator with the Rodecaster video built in?
Mm-hmm. Or not necessarily built in, not necessarily built in, but if they can communicate, like I could control all the sound from the Mackie. I don't know. Maybe that's possible with the Rodecaster. I don't know. Is it? I don't have a Rode.
Yeah, you can hook a Rodecaster up to the Rodecaster video. You can hook up a Rodecaster Pro 2. You
how
just
do they
put
connect?
it through USB.
They're
on the back.
networked, aren't they?
Yeah, you just put it in through the USB, and basically you can plug in microphones to the Rodecaster Pro 2 or the Rodecaster Duo, and that will just become one more channel on here. So the Rodecaster becomes a single channel on.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's really well done in regards to that. Like if you want a large podcast that you're trying to get video for,
Then
well done.
let's see. Røde, could you do the same thing with the DLZ into the Røde? the Røde,
But-
whatever the video thing's called. I don't remember. Sorry, names.
Roadcaster
names.
video. I think,
Roadcaster
but
video.
this is an interesting perspective, right? Because if they did do this and they had decided to like, okay, we're going to take the best from the DLZ creator, put it with the best from the Roadcaster Pro 2, and both of them have mind-blowing devices when you consider what they do for the price they are.
Yep.
And we're going to make one big kick-ass thing that hooks up to the Roadcaster video. That would be cool, no? Like, that would be awesome.
It would be definitely.
Anyways, also the I shout out for the Rode Micro. I know I was bitching about wireless. This thing's really cool. That's the other thing. That's it. Moving on.
We didn't hear from Dylan, did we?
Oh, Dylan. Yeah. Did we? Oh no, the most thing that surprised Dylan. Dylan, sorry.
Just on the Mackie conversation, I want to point out, so the scratchy garbage audio is not a compressor. Somebody thought it was a compressor. It is actually a Mackie. It's a Mackie. Not a great advertisement, but it's
a 20-year-old mixer.
This is going to be a bit of an advertisement for Mackie because, yeah, this is a mix. This is a VLZ3, a 1642 VLZ3 from the late 90s. Very little maintenance over its lifespan. It has been through a lot, and it is still trucking, minus a couple of dirty buttons. But so no, I think my biggest surprise this year, and I want to circle back to something you talked about earlier, Aiden, is the H Essential Series. Yes, I am going to do the Bandrew thing, and I'm going to throw something at the H Essential Series. I think them incorporating accessibility features, that was kind of a big deal for me. I was not expecting that. It's not something that I would say Zoom is known for doing, especially given their history of stellar interface design. But I was really impressed with that, pleasantly so. I think, this is stuff, especially in the audio business, that we should be making accessible. And now we have the technology for ease of use and stuff like that. So the fact that was like kind of a marketing point for them, I think says a lot about their priorities as a company, that they would even think to go there. So that was a big surprise for me.
Somebody had to bring up Zoom for the big surprise, right?
Yep.
Somebody had to.
That's a fair.
Andrew
that's
wasn't
a
going to
fair
do
point.
it, so I had to throw in there.
That's a fair point. That is actually a really cool thing for those that need that feature.
Derek Taylor wants to know, did I ever get around to testing the SM58 as a lav mic? In my last video on Monday or when, I can't even remember which day it was. I basically was joking and I taped with packing tape an SM58 to my chest. And surprisingly enough, it actually didn't sound bad.
58, man. I mean,
but it's also like, how many lav mics have you put to your chest right here and the chin shade just makes them sound like crap?
So
The
as a lav
SM58
mic, I dare you to do a comparison between the 58 as a lav mic and the 57 as a lav mic.
Do it.
That's not actually a bad idea.
And make sure you test it out while jogging. That needs to be part of the test.
So there's a couple things. Nobody wants to see me jogging with a microphone taped to me. And second, nobody wants to see me jogging.
You are so wrong. I want to see it. I want to smell the sweat. I want to see how waterproof those microphones are.
Yeah.
Just
Don't worry, kids. I'll be selling my bathwater after as well.
Perfect.
All good.
Aiden Delphine.
Aiden Delphine, yeah. That's
The internet's such a disgusting place,
Oh,
man.
God.
Jeez Louise.
Oh, never mind. We just found out today that people are upset because the new main character on the next Witcher series isn't attractive enough. So it's people are actually pissed
What's
off.
Witcher? I don't know what that
Video
is.
Game. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I forgot. I'm not talking to video game nerds. I apologize. And Dylan just noped out apparently. I think his camera probably
swapping
isn't-
the battery. I got batteries.
Swapping the battery. Okay. He's still here. Yeah, so SM58 is a lav. I'm running out of stuff to do before Christmas because
There we go. I'm back.
we have a whole part of our Canadian government that decided not to work for mail delivery. So yeah, you might see a lot of weird videos between now and January 1st. We'll see.
Yes.
So some behind the scenes stuff. I love this question. I'm skipping over the wireless stuff. Favorite video you did this year? Perhaps one that was most fun or had the best reception. Whatever. We'll start with Curtis.
Well,
you did have time to prepare. I just want to remind you.
Yeah. Yeah, but
you didn't include the disclaimer. You need to read this and prepare. That wasn't there.
And it can't be focus right. Sorry.
Can I? Whoa, I'm thinking of buying a Scarlett 2i2. I just wanted to let everybody know.
Excellent. I'm
actually going to go to the opposite of what you just asked because creative freedom. And
the worst video.
It was actually, I had a lot of fun doing it, but it was not well received. And that was my ASMR video where I used my MKH8030 and an MKH8050 as the mid mic. That was the whole motivation for me, was I wanted to record mid-side stereo and just see what that was all about. And the only context I could think of at the time, or the first context that came to mind, was let's do ASMR. I don't mean to. Some people legitimately experience ASMR, and that's great. I am not one of those people. I do not get the tinglies or whatever people describe it as. I just don't. So it was an opportunity for me to sit down in front of a mid-side stereo pair and just sort of nerd out.
I like that you emphasize mid-side, because I've always said, apart from, and I don't remember the model of this, but Bandrew, you might remember, Neumann had a mic, might still have one that was like a head.
KU100.
Yeah. And I'm like, I would love to try, because that's designed to mimic the actual stereo response of human ears, or at least as close as we can get anatomically. But I think second to that, a mid-side pair is probably your best bet. I've tried getting realistic stereo images with pretty much like ORTF, even like a Blumlin setup with a set of ribbon mics. Mid-side is the way to go. It's a little more complicated than your other stereo configs, but for something like ASMR, I would do the same thing.
Yeah, so I'm thinking mid-side. Isn't it guitar that you'd want to really narrow in on? ASMR is fine, I guess. I'm not judging.
Do you think that mid-side is more effective for that mimicking human hearing because the angle is more aggressive? It's not 90 or 120 or 130. It's essentially 180 for the side mics.
Yeah, and I think part of it too is the way our brains perceive phantom mono, right? The idea that a sound that's in the middle of you sounds like it's in the middle of you, but it's not. It's just arriving at both your ears same time, same intensity. And so I think the idea that there is actually kind of a center mic and it's one of the only stereo configurations that there is technically a center microphone to pick up a true kind of directly in front of you source. I think that leads to a more accurate perception of phantom mono, which kind of, for me anyway, paints the stereo pair, especially on headphones. XY is just all over the place for me. I've gotten some really drastic stereo results, like with an acoustic guitar, you have two pencils, one over the shoulder pointed at the saddle, one kind of pointed
at... That's my favorite. That's actually my favorite.
It's really wide. I would say almost too wide. But, that versus throwing up a simple mid-side, like the 14th fret, which in my opinion sounds fuller. It sounds more natural. It's less jarring when you're listening on headphones. Everything sounds good on speakers, I find, all the stereo pairs. But the second I flip to headphones, it's really disorienting, I find, with like an XY or even like a badly placed AB pair.
Okay, I think we're all missing the point. Curtis, what did you do for the ASMR? I need to know. Like, was it all straight? Did you eat a banana?
I just basically offended everybody. Everybody that came to watch the video was offended.
That's our whole mission statement. So that's perfect.
Everybody hated it. That's the worst dislike to like ratio I've ever had on a video.
Really?
Not really. But it was not good. And the ASMR people probably weren't happy because it was obvious I was probably being a little bit sarcastic about ASMR. So it was
the few people that showed up to see
I tried
waffles and chicken, eh?
Aiden, I really tried. Really tried.
See, if we're going to stay on the same, actually, this will be a fun one for you as well, Bandrew. My most hated moment this year from the viewers is the amount of people I lost as subscribers and the amount of hate mail I got because I didn't pronounce it NAB. I said NAB. And because when I was in radio, that's NAB or NAB, is a North American Broadcasters. It's where radio people go every year. It was always referred to as NAB. I cannot get it out of my head. And even when I'm sitting there, Casey Neistat called it NAB. If Casey Neistat can call it NAB, anyone can call it NAB. Anyways, I lost probably about 30 subscribers, and they yelled at me on the way out. They were like, one guy was like, how unprofessional you are by not calling it what it's supposed to be. And I'm like, who is your mother? Who raised you to be like this? You're weird.
I think
that was probably
Aiden,
the most ridiculous. Yeah,
it's probably for the best. It's probably for the best that those 30 people left.
Yeah.
That's not as embarrassing as this must have been back in 2017. I didn't call it NAM. I called it NOM. NOM.
Nom. Oh my goodness.
Well, technically, there's no E on the end to make the A long. So, I mean, you're probably right.
I just really wanted to be able to say that if I ever go one day, I went to NOM. I saw some shit.
I saw some shit. I've actually, you know what, the NAM this year, I've gotten probably about 30 invites from companies. Not a single one has offered a plane ticket. And I keep telling them, you pay for a plane ticket, I'll be there. But yeah, I really want to go to NAM, whatever it is.
Me
Call
too.
it NOM.
Me too.
Nom.
I'll call it anything. It doesn't matter to me. I want to go. I'll
Yeah,
go with you.
It'd be fun. I am going to NAB this year, though. I already booked all the tickets and stuff. So I'm so Curtis, do you go to NAB or NAB? Whatever it is?
I haven't I have before. I've been like 6 years, but I had the last few years. I was going to go last year, and just timing wise, it didn't work out this last year. But yeah, I'm hoping to go this coming year.
Awesome. That's going to be good. It's more of this crew at NAB. That would be fun. Andrew, I still got to pull you out there, man.
I definitely had not FOMO, but just afterwards, I just regretted seeing all the fun that y'all had, and I was like, oh, I wish I got to hang out with them.
So here's the thing. So I finally met Tom Buck, which was awesome. I've always wanted to meet Tom. Him and I are polar opposites, as you can tell. Former teacher, former truck driver. It's going to be interesting. I also met what's his name from Audio Hotline. Bronson, thank you. And he was texting me before NAB. He was like, dude, we're gonna hang out. It's gonna be great. I meet them the first day and don't hear from them again. They're literally like, screw that guy. We're going out party. They went to parties with the B&H after party. They did all this stuff, and I'm like sitting in my hotel room doing videos, crying. It was horrible. So we need more of the older generation out there. I'm saying, and I'm not saying you're old, Andrew, but I think I'm
like the same age as Tom. Jeez, I guess I need to start dyeing my hair or something.
Yeah.
When you see my next video and my hair is jet black, you know why. It's because of you.
If you don't do frosted tips, we're done.
We're done.
Oh, there he goes again. Where'd he go? All right. Oh, you cut out, Andrew.
I said I'm going to start covering Backstreet Boys when I do that for the review songs with the frosted tips and everything.
And you do the dance moves?
Like, all right.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, I don't know any of the dance moves. Or maybe I'll cover Spice Girls. That'll be better.
So, out of all the videos that may have disappointed you this year, Andrew, do you got one?
Worst performing. So I took a little bit of a break in releases to work on like one big video, and I was going to put it out as a single one. It was Producing Great Online Audio, Episode 1, Selecting the Right Mic. And I had this big outline I've been working on for months. And then it ended up being an hour long. And I was like, this is stupid. So I just broke it up into like 7 different episodes and put them out over the series of 3 weeks. And some of those just tanked.
Yeah.
So that's kind of disappointing, but they're evergreen content for people to find when they're searching for it. Yeah, everybody who subscribes to my channel, most of them already have their mic, so they don't need to know what to look for.
Those are I find those are actually really good on long term. Like I've had a few sleepers like that where I've done back to basics and I've covered something and then I'm like, yeah, that was a dud. And then I go back and look at it 6 months later. I'm like, whoa, there are 70,000 views on this thing. How'd that happen?
We did a video last year, and I'll still harp about this: how to mic a drum set. And I was planning on doing like a follow up because we got the Zoom H8 for it, and I love the Zoom H8. And one of the sales points that I told Zoom that I was going to do is we're going to mic a drum kit with just the Zoom H8, and I had them send the add-on for the 4 extra XLRs, and we were going to do this big like drum set hook up with the Zoom H8. We're going to record the drum set with the Zoom H8. It's going to be awesome. And then that video got so few views that even today it still hasn't cracked 1,000.
Oof.
Oh wow.
It's like it died in a fire. Like it was screaming the minute I put it out.
That really is one of the most interesting quirks about YouTube. A lot of the time, it's the videos you put the most work into and spend the most time preparing for and the most effort into that just tank. And then the ones that are off the cuff, it's like, oh, this is authentic. And people resonate with it and just go with that. It's just
nobody wants to know how to
works.
mic a drum kit, apparently. That was the worst. The absolute worst part about all this is I invested about $600 of my own money into it to rent out the studio to do it. I also approached a company to support with the mics, to sponsor with the microphones. And I was going to utilize that over the 2 videos with the Zoom and with the miking. And so they sent me like close to $3,000 in mics. And I think they got a total. I think there's about 690 views on that video now. So I don't think they're ever talking to me ever again. Like ever.
That's not good.
I wonder sometimes about if I do anything that covers the music space or has a shared interest from the music space, I get slaughtered. Like if I review near-field monitors.
We've tried to scrape into that world 3 times now, Aiden, and it's flopped but they're the funnest projects, right? It's the Pareto distribution. We get like 80% of our fulfillment from these few videos.
We did like we covered songs, Curtis. Like we did a cover of Hurt, which has actually taken off since. That died in a fire as soon as we put it out, but we recorded the whole song, like 14 instruments with just an SM58. That's a cool concept. Nobody watches it. And then we did the can you record a song with a Rodecaster
he decided
Duo?
to torture me and make me produce a song with a Rodecaster Duo. That was fun.
But we proved we could do it. And like
worked out.
The point wasn't that we did it with a Rodecaster Duo and everybody should buy a Rodecaster Duo. It's just, well, if you can do that with a Rodecaster Duo, you can do your bloody podcast.
Yeah, well, it was kind of like the equivalent of that challenge that was like give a noob, $10,000 in camera equipment and then give us a seasoned cinematographer an iPhone 12. And, obviously the seasoned cinematographer with the iPhone got the cake by hands down.
Yeah.
It's
I blame Great Big C for ruining that one. We covered for that.
You chose that song. You can't blame them for that.
It was fun a cappella. Come on. Who doesn't like a good a cappella song?
Fun a cappella until I sink my teeth into it, and then it's not really that.
I do have to answer one. IBC is all the rage. I would love to go to IBC. The finances. We plan trips every year. This year, I believe we're going to Paraguay. We're hitting up. Oh shit, I forget. We're going a couple places. I need to like push my own agenda to go to IBC because it's going to cost me about $7,000. But I want to go. IBC sounds amazing. Okay, so next question. We've exhausted that. Dylan, you don't have any videos that surprised you? Did you release any videos this year?
He did. He did his cover, didn't he?
Oh,
well,
he released some covers.
I did one cover. There's more stuff coming, but yeah, one cover.
Yeah.
By the way, absolutely amazing. You're incredible, man.
Thank
you
very much. I appreciate that.
Yeah, he just spun a 360 and just did a wild rock tune, like
really
70s style. Like I don't know. Okay, so we're Canadian. Do you know the name Kim Mitchell? Might as well go for a soda. Nobody hurts. No, nothing.
Probably not.
No. Okay. So we have a Canadian folk hero in Canada of a rocker. His name's Kim Mitchell. It's very much on brand. It's awesome. I say y'all are going to like it when it comes out. So
It's fun.
Just
It's a fun ride.
Okay. So we're gonna pull this one in here. And we'll finish off with any plans for new projects. And we're going to go around the group. I know every year, Bandrew, kind of like last year, you're talking about doing the whole thing with like kind of beginner stuff that you kind of touched on, how it failed miserably. Anything else you kind of looking forward to failing on this year?
Yeah, all the additional episodes of that series, which I will do. It's so difficult I try to make them as complete as I can, which is why a simple question, hey, which mic should you buy, turned into an hour-long video. I try to cover every aspect of it, so I'm looking forward to doing that. I'm definitely looking forward to doing more consumer gaming microphones because those are the only videos that do well. 3 to 5x my regular video.
Oh, looking forward.
Razer,
Corporate whore,
HyperX, Razer, HyperX, release microphones. I need to get some views.
Quick before we get to Curtis, I missed a super chat here. Action Podcast. I'm just a fat dude sat in a cupboard with an SM58 and a Vocaster One. You guys have all been epic and very kind to an audio noob like me. I appreciate the radio of the mind aspect of that comment. If you'd pointed out that you were in kind of like a tank top or something, that would have really sold that. Nice. Action Podcast, I appreciate that. Thank you. And we got Liberty Dude. We'll answer this question in a bit. Let's get this one done. We'll come back to Liberty Dude in a second. That's a great question.
I just need to point out the Vocaster series, like since it's decreased in price so much, I see the Vocaster 1 like $50, the Vocaster 2 like $100. That's crazy for that price. That's such a good deal for a podcaster. Just wild.
Yeah, I've been winging
there.
that all year. I've been saying that's like the best thing to get. I think they're going to disappear soon too.
Yeah.
All right, Curtis.
What
do you got?
The Vocaster looks like you just ate a bunch of French fries and then you touched it.
I know. I swear. I wasn't eating French. You actually experienced the same thing. Didn't you?
I did. It was just the funniest way to say it.
I tried doing B-roll after too. Like I was like super gonna do B-roll. I'm like, I tried cleaning the fucking thing and it would not clean.
No, it looks hideous. That's the only problem. But otherwise, it's pretty good. I think I want to. I've been nerding out and reading stuff about mastering compression and loudness compression and loudness normalization. I want to actually become a master at compression. I want to figure that out. I want to teach everyone what I learned. That's what I want to do this year.
That'll be awesome.
Nothing to do with gear. And I suck at compression. I can't. I'm always like, oh, that sounds horrible. I can't believe I did a whole live stream and it sounds like that. Horrible. So I want to get past that.
Yeah, I would have to say EQ would be mine. I would when I started using the Sennheiser MKH416 as my main mic, I got lazy on EQ. And when I came back and I've got the NTG3 here and I was like, all right, let's just go and EQ this. And I'm like, what am I doing with my hands? It was EQ. I kind of lost a lot of focus on. All right, Dylan, project for this year.
A lot of stuff. Just launched a new voiceover site, so started doing some of that. Might end up as the big voice for a few stations in the States. That was not the goal, getting the voiceover stuff. I never said I'm going to be an imaging voice. But somebody suggested there was an agent that somebody suggested I reach out to in New York. I got a call back pretty quickly. They're like, yeah, you could be a rock guy. I'm like, I'm not a rock guy. All right. If you think so. So that also going to start doing some commercial VO stuff. It's funny. I look back 20 years ago, I would have laughed at the idea that somehow my voice was going to be a revenue stream for me. But that's where we are. That's on the horizon. Lots more music stuff. Probably going to also be doing some more radio stuff, some freelance things here and there, because that's still a business that is shrinking very quickly, but still requires support in some key areas. But lots of cool stuff coming in the new year for sure, including some more music, as Aiden mentioned.
Yeah.
Congrats on that. That's awesome.
Thank you.
Yeah. I'm launching a podcast. but I want to launch others. So here's the fun part: is I've got this concept as an interview podcast, and I got a guy by the name of Bobby Chacon to be my first interview subject, and he's ex FBI. It's a really cool concept that I had, and I did the first interview, and the guy's a good talker. It was great, and it was like 45 minutes long. And you know when you're like inside the content and you can't really see if it's good or interesting. And so I reached out to a buddy of mine named Matt Kundle, who I was like, hey, Matt, I just want you to tell me, is this any good? Is it interesting? I just did the main cut. I hadn't even touched the audio, nothing. And he sends me back a couple audio tips, which I'm like, thanks, Matt. I appreciate your EQ tips. Thanks, buddy. And then he goes, I'm going to listen to it now. And then it's been dead silence for 2 days. So I think I might have to start another podcast because maybe that one sucked. I'm not exactly sure. So I was actually asking Bandrew last year after the stream. I'm like, Bandrew, do you want to do a podcast? And I think that's where I'm at now. I'm just like walking around to people like, hey, man, do you want to do a podcast? I think it'd be like I edit for a podcast that's in the top 0.05% of podcasts. And the amount of money that's made is insane. And I'm like, maybe that's how I get rich. I know it's not. But yeah, I want to start more podcasts. So that's basically my main project. I'm putting my second channel on hold for it. So other than that, yeah. We do have a couple. There's one that I want to get to from Liberty Dude. There's another one here, and I'm going to actually see if we can air it out. Can we do this next week with the worst possible gear? That's SR375. Does anybody want to be bold enough today on this show to come out and call somebody out for having the worst possible gear this year?
Yeah, I will.
Oh,
do that.
wow. Damn. Yeah. Okay.
What? Come on, you didn't.
All right.
The Behringer D2. That thing sucks a big bag of dongs for $130. Go heck yourself. You're ripping people off. It sucks.
I mean, it's par for the course, I feel, for that.
Is Behringer a free play? Is that a free space, though? Come on, it's Behringer.
Behringer has some great stuff. They offer some great value. This was just, it's like when they put out all those microphones, those USB condenser mics that were mimicking these classic mics, like the Coles 4038, I think it is, with a USB, it was awful. Bronson reviewed them on Audio Hotline. But they released some complete and utter garbage, but then some also really good value. That least favorite piece of gear this year.
Okay, Dylan, I want to go to you first. I think that we've got the host is going to come down when we actually talk to Curtis, because he's probably going to spit venom when he talks. So Dylan, I want to know worst piece of gear this year. Let's make some enemies, buddy.
Oh, I don't like the Zoom Essential. I know I just gave them props for something that I do think is really important, but as a value proposition, it's not there for me. I would have rather the HX Pro series and not the Essential series. I'm not a fan.
They broke my heart when they didn't release that. They broke my heart. I thought
it was coming. There were little crumbs, right? There were little crumbs of something, and I was like, "Oh, it's a precursor. Here we go." Nope.
All right, let's get Curtis Judd canceled. What do you got, Curtis?
Okay.
I knew it. I knew it.
Equal opportunity here. Who's going to hate me now? The Samsung Q9X.
Oh God.
Was that just me, or was that?
That was not just you. I've got a funny story around, but you do yours first.
That's it. That's all. I have nothing more to say.
Mic drop.
Bandrew, do you want to talk about the Q9X at all?
I never used it. I did the Q9U when that came out and never touched the Q9X. So I don't know.
I got the Q9U and I did a review on it, and I said it was a muddy mess. I don't know why they would ever release it. I thought it was garbage. I didn't like it. And the sales rep calls me, right? The sales rep emails me. He's like, "What's your number? We need to talk." I'm like, "Okay." And he's like, "We're releasing another mic. It's the Q9X, dude." I'm like, "Okay, yeah, I'll give it a shot." He's like, "I know you were hard on the Q9U, but this is different." I'm like, "Okay, so I'm going to do a video, the Q9X versus Q9U." He's like, "Oh, no. It's like, I don't really want you comparing them. I said, well, actually, I mean, they're going to be part of the comparison. He's like, no. He's like, you can brush over it. You can just kind of throw them up against each other really quick, but then that's it. And so I'm like, okay, something's going on. So I put them side by side, and they were the exact same microphone, just one did not have USB. That's it.
I mean, that's what you would expect, right?
But he told me, he was like, this is new. I just ripped you a new one for the microphone I hated the sound of. And so I had to do it. I'm like, you literally just set me up for this, man.
Yeah.
And it was one of the worst mics. This year, though, I would say the Maono PD100X.
What was that? What is that? What kind of mic? Is that a mic?
Yeah, it's an XLR USB, and it was so bad that if you got too close,
is that the distorty one, right?
Yeah, you get too close to it, it would sound like you were screaming into the mic, and it was distorted all to hell. And I still
you sent it to me. You're like, what would cause this like satanic vibes?
That could be used to effect, couldn't it?
No, it was just obnoxious. It was obnoxious.
I mean, couldn't a screamo band vocalist?
No.
You know what, the kind of audience that the copper phone appeals to, maybe they would find use in
Hey,
Banjo
leave me
has
alone.
one of those.
Hey, I like the copper.
Hey.
That is something that's an effect that's supposed to be an effect, right? The Maono
These are our
PD100X.
guests.
And to be clear, I bought it because I thought this will be interesting to review. It's different.
Yeah.
Not because I want to spend $300 to get this effect.
Well, that's it. Yeah, I'll use EQ filters. I'm good. I don't need that in my closet.
Still to this day, I still get people in the comments going, well, you're not using it right if it sounds like that. I'm like, okay. The PD100X was probably the absolute worst. Okay, now we've got to get to Liberty Dude, or not? Was it Liberty Dude?
Yep.
Liberty Dude had the question, yeah.
Liberty Dude, the question that we're going to end this off with here. If you could have one mic / device sent to you, what would it burn? Bem. I think he means what would it be?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Who wants to go first?
Anybody. Dylan, you haven't gone first yet.
Yeah, I'm going to say I really want to mess around with the Sennheiser MKH 418S. So that's the stereo. It's the stereo shotgun. It's not really a stereo shotgun. It's a shotgun with a kind of a mid-side, like the 8030 kind of tacked on in the bottom of it. But I know I was really intrigued with the zoom attachment for the I think it was the H6 originally. That was a stereo shotgun. I'm like, how would they do that? And then I was looking up the MKH 418, and they're like, it's a 416, but it's stereo. And I would really love to mess around with that as a creative tool.
All right. Curtis or Banjo, one of you guys go. Come on.
I don't even know what it's called, but I'd love to get an Earthworks drum mic kit.
Nice.
And,
Earthworks.
And mic up my drums, make a video on it, and watch it burn and die.
All right. Are Curtis, you not a fan of Earthworks? Is that what you're saying?
No, I'm using an Earthworks mic right now. I love our Earthworks mics. I'm just joking about your video about miking up drums.
Yeah, he's just ribbing you.
Okay.
I just, friendly.
That's hurtful.
Friend. It was meant. Okay, pull it in. Pull it in. Come on, Aiden.
How dare you?
Pull it in.
Do you actually have a drum kit, Curtis?
I do have a Yamaha Stage Custom acoustic kit, and
nice.
I'd love to mic it up. I've never had a proper drum mic kit.
No kidding.
So, yeah.
Nice.
All this time you've played drums, and you could have been the drummer in the Podcastage band.
See, I've been trying to set up a collaboration song where we get everybody playing one instrument and filming yourself. And I wanted to do Seven Nation Army.
Huh.
And I reached out. Tom said he would be in. Tom said he would do it. I think even Bandrew said he would play the triangle for it. So if we could get a drummer for Seven Nation Army, Curtis, if you're in on this, we could literally do.
I think I should get that drum miking kit and send you a mix just so you can hear what you're asking for, because it's not probably that good. But
no, Dylan's a wizard. He'll make you sound good. Don't worry, Dylan. You got this, right?
I can. Dylan, I've dealt with Aiden's tracks, so I can do anything.
Oh,
yes.
Dang. So we're just piling on Aiden at the end of this.
Yeah,
Goodness
that's
gracious.
He's the host. He's the scapegoat. Just honorary. That's just how it works.
I'm keeping all the super chats for myself.
What else is new? Whoops! Did I say? I thought that. I'm sorry.
Go back to your closet.
Hey, you gave me the acoustic treatment from yours. So
Yeah,
That's incredible.
Welcome
We
to
broke
Beautiful.
Bandrew.
Oh, I love it. That's so good.
Okay, so Bandrew, that one to you. If you could have one mic device sent to you, what would it be?
So this is going to sound like a cop-out, but I have wanted to try the Neumann TLM 107 for like 4 or 5 years, because that's their modern microphone. It seems like that's what they're really pushing. I don't think they've really released anything more modernized other than their digital stuff that's kind of been discontinued.
I don't know. They were really pushing the MT48 too, and that's just a repurposed Anubis. So companies pushing stuff. I don't know what to believe anymore.
But like the 107, that's like 10 years old, I think.
Yeah,
I just want to see what their more modern offerings sound like. If it sounds similar to the 103, does it sound, based on the frequency response, it looks vastly different than the 103. So I just want to see what it does.
Compare things like noise floor as well, and look at some of those and see if there's been any improvements, any major strides in the hardware.
Yeah. So I've been saving. I'm going to be picking one up. I've been saving for months, dude.
You can't waste money on a Neumann. You can't waste money on a Neumann.
I mean, you can.
Why?
Oh, wait a minute. Wait a minute.
Why?
Wait a minute.
No.
Bandrew's here. You got to be careful what you say, because
that was a challenge.
He's dropped.
No, what I'm
how
all
many
I'm saying
thousands?
is not a single studio has gotten worse by owning a Neumann. Anybody that's like, TLM 102.
No, as an investment, I heard.
I misunderstood. I thought you were saying you can't waste your money on a Neumann.
No, like, how dare you, Andrew? That's what I heard too.
No. I was referencing that there's no such thing as wasting.
Oh, okay.
No, honestly, Neumanns are up. I mean, they're more expensive, but they're right up there with Shure. They retain their value long into their. If you treat them with care and respect, you can. U87 AI will sell very similar to what you bought for it. 10 years later. So,
for me, I'm just looking up at it right now. Oh, Bandrew, is that it? That's just the one you're looking for?
Yeah, that's the main, because I really just like mics. I have a bunch of preamps that I need to review, but I'm realizing I'm just that mic guy. Hence Microphone Millhouse, which is a nickname I got in.
Bandrew, I've been because another thing I'm going to work on in the coming years is some YouTube stuff. I've got so many ideas written down at this point for videos and stuff that I don't know. I know, and I'm frustrated that nobody else seems to be talking about. So just again, music.
That's a subtle jab. Thanks, man.
But like stuff that we would try on your channel, Aiden, and it would flop, just like the drum video.
Yeah.
But like preamps are one thing. Like I've got a 1073 beside me here. I would love to talk about the gorgeous things that does, but I can't think of a packaging for it to do preamps. How do you package preamp videos, Andrew?
Yeah, so it's difficult. You're going to need to put out higher quality audio. You can't just rely on the YouTube release, so you need to put out at least like 320 kilobits M4A. Lossless if you can. But I like to do just walking through everything I do with all my reviews, walking through the build quality, walking through the features. Then I compare, here's the preamp, and then here's an interface preamp, and just go back and forth so people can hear the difference there. Then I really started liking to do, I also do the noise floor test. Here's how noisy it is with the SM7B. Crank it up to 100. Here's a 150 ohm resistor, so all you're hearing is the hiss. I do frequency response measurements using Room EQ Wizard just to see what kind of impact it's having. Most of them don't have any real impact on the frequency response. They're really, really clean. And I recently got a drum machine because I'm not a drummer, and I just love hearing how it distorts the hell out of them. The breakup of it is just the coolest sounding thing.
Oh, yeah,
So then
especially if you get like a transformer, like a tube pre that's got some color to it, and you grind it to the roof, and you just listen to that, just that crackly garbage.
Oh yeah. And for then the last thing is the music test. I record both. I do the music through just the raw interface, and then everything running through the preamp. So you get to hear how it compounds on itself and how all that additional character really adds to it. And then I just
generation loss of the preamp.
Yeah, exactly. So I've done a handful of them.
You got people talking about you having a drum machine, and they want to know about what drum machine. So I think you've got some
the
work to do.
Arteria Drum Brute Mini. I think.
Nice. The Arteria, their stuff is good. I like their shit.
Something I want that I wish could just be sent to me, the Yamaha DM3. This is the 22 channel. Is it 22 channel or 21 channel mixer? That's basically a Mackie DLZ creator on steroids. It's also got like Dante.
Nice.
Like this thing is like the beast that I just want.
Inquiry about Dante. Isn't Dante mostly useful for like live when you're doing long runs or studio where you have multiple rooms?
Dylan?
It's Dante is just like Matty or any other protocol. It's used a lot in live. It's used in some studios. I know some people have had some questions about any kind of quality loss over conversion or latency, additional latency, which there is. That's a factor, of course. Used a lot in the video space too. I know a couple of radio stations as well that are all rigged up Dante. Toronto, my previous employer, their Toronto studios were all Dante.
So is Element.
Mm-hmm. And it's honestly, I can understand why, because with the Dante controller software, it's a very modular system. It's extremely customizable. Because of the Dante licensing for the hardware, it's a little bit higher upfront cost compared to something like Livewire. But it is very capable and very, again, custom configurable.
All right. Yeah. So anyways, the Yamaha DM3, thanks, Andrew, you took that one over. That is just the mixer of my dreams. I would love
no
that.
remorse. Look at that. No
remorse.
Wait,
No,
what did I take over?
I was talking about it. You went on a dance. Never mind.
Okay.
I was asked a question.
We did get one question earlier that asked, "What is Curtis's headphones?"
So I've been thinking that too. Actually,
I want us to all guess. I'm saying Bear Dynamic DT990 Pro. And Bandrew, what do you think?
I think it's the 900 Pro, isn't it, or is it 990 Pro? I'm gonna say 770s.
He's got a great poker face. That's good.
Yeah, Dylan, what do you got?
I know it's Bear Dynamic. I can see the shape. I'm not familiar with their lineup. I've never bought them, so I couldn't say what model, but definitely Bear Dynamic.
DT 770 Pro 81 edition.
Nice.
Bandrew nailed it.
Yeah.
Purple Star is on its way. It'll arrive via U.S. Postal Service in about 7 weeks.
Because our postal service is not striking. Suck on that, Canadians.
we just had legislation passed to put them back to work because we're a horrible country that doesn't respect unions. So there's a whole bunch of conversations that could go on around that. I'm sure that wouldn't be divisive whatsoever.
No.
Anyways, guys, this was a lot of fun. We're at an hour and a half. I don't want to be taking up any more of your time. I really appreciate it. This is something I really do want to continue through each Christmas coming up. And I know it's so hard to get everybody to come together for this stuff. And I also, guys, if you want to do a podcast, hit me up, man. I want to do a podcast, video podcast. I think we could do it.
On the podcast train.
It'd be awesome. This would literally, we would probably make a ton of money, and I would probably pilfer most of it.
That is so optimistic.
I'm kidding. It's a passion project. We'll have 15 viewers.
Let's start a podcast to get rich and famous, and then we'll make it about audio.
Yeah. Not in the same sense. Those are things that don't go together.
Three things that are destined to make you no money.
You gotta make it a YouTube channel as well. and then you can get some AdSense, like $10-20, and you're flying, man.
Yeah.
Hell yeah.
Cover our coffee for the week. All right, guys. You guys don't have to leave anywhere. I'm just going to hit the end stream button. So thank you to everybody that showed up. I didn't actually look to see what our top viewers were. We are at 43 right now. I appreciate everybody coming out and hanging with us. Merry Christmas to everybody. If I don't get to see you, thank you to all the new faces in the chat as well. Really do appreciate you guys coming in and hanging out with us for the hour and a half. So have yourself a great week. We'll see you next week.
Merry Christmas. Bye-bye.